Hi, I'm Scott Goldthorpe, and today I will be presenting about an ethical exemplar, Cynthia Cooper. And she was the head of the Internal Audit Division at WorldCom. And in the early 2000s, WorldCom was involved in fraudulent activity, which led to its collapse. They found billions of dollars of fraudulent activity, and the top management was involved in the ones carrying out this activity. And so Cynthia Cooper, she and her audit team, they received some tips and things like that about the fraudulent activity going on. And so her and her team, they typically performed operational audits, but they didn't do much on the financial audit side. But once they started receiving these tips, they decided to look into this, start auditing the financials at WorldCom. And they found billions of dollars of fraudulent activity, and they decided that they needed to do something about this. Cynthia Cooper, she didn't cave into pressure from her superiors, because her direct boss, the CFO, Scott Sullivan, he was pressuring her not to continue with these audits and telling her that it was fine and she shouldn't do what she was doing. But Cynthia knew that she was doing was right. And so as we analyze this using the IMA's ethical or resolving ethical conflicts, the steps involved within that number one, she couldn't go to her direct supervisor because he was heavily involved in this fraudulent activity, as well as other top management within the organization. So she couldn't really go to her superiors to talk about this, but she did raise the issue with the external auditors, Arthur Anderson at the time, and they kind of just brushed her off. So she took it to the audit committee, which was a really good thing. It got the investigations starting, or helped them to progress. And so she did what was right in that situation. She did what she could with the circumstances. And number two, she did consult other individuals. She confided in her parents, who were not biased in the situation. They might have been a little bit because of their daughter was involved, but they were not involved in the direct business operations. And so by confiding in them, I'm sure they gave her great advice and counsel and helped her to understand her ethical considerations in the matter. And then from my reading, I wasn't able to necessarily find that she consulted with her attorney about the matters. I'm sure she did once they were being more investigated by the SEC and whatnot. So overall, I feel like she followed these very well, and she did what was right in the situation. And if we look into Badaracco's advice, and what might apply to the situation, I think Cynthia Cooper, I think she was very powerful leader. She was quiet, the article said, but yet she was persistent, and she stuck to her values, and she knew what she had to do. It talks about in Badaracco's article about how sometimes they need to be able to bend the rules, which might sound kind of bad, but in this sense it was good, because she did receive permission from Scott Sullivan to perform the financial audits, but she went ahead and did it anyway, because she knew she had to do what was right. She knew the fraudulent activity was going on, and she had to get to the bottom of this. And so I think she is just a great example what to do when faced with an ethical conflict. Even when it might be hard, when people are saying to not follow your values, not do what's right, she did it anyway. And I think that we can all learn from this and strive to do what is right when we are faced with an ethical conflict.